A black cross had been set against Judge Hawkins' name. Why, it is not for me to say. We were not accustomed to explain our motives or to give reason for our deeds. The deeds were enough, and this black cross meant
death.
And when it had been shown us, all that we needed
No further
was at what hour we should meet for the contemplated
raid.
A word from the captain settled that, and when the next Friday came, a dozen men met at the place of rendezvous, ready for the ride which should bring them to the judge's
Solitary mansion across the mountains.
I was amongst them, and in as satisfactory a mood as I ever been in my life, for the night was favourable, and the men hearty, in first-rate condition. But after we had started, and or threatening a certain wood, I began to have doubts. Feelings I had never before experienced assailed me, forced at first perplexed and then astounded. I was afraid, and what rather heightened than diminished the unwonted sensation was the fact that I was not afraid of anything tangible, either in present or future, but of something inexplicable and peculiar, which, if it lay in the skies, certainly made them look dark it be, and if it hid in the forest, caused its faintest murmur to seem like the utterance of a great dread. As awful as it was inexplicable, I nevertheless proceeded, and should have done so with the great streaks of lightning, which now and then shot zigzag through the sky, had taken shape, words,
And bid us
all beware. I was not one to be daunted.
and knew no other course than that of advance when once
A stroke of justice had been planned, and the direction for its fulfillment marked out. I went on, but I began to think, and that to me was an experience, for I had never been taught to reflect, only to fight and obey. The house, towards which we were riding, was built on a hillside, and the first thing we saw, on emerging from the forest, was a light burning in one of its thistlewood windows. This was a surprise, for the hour was late, and in that part of the country, people were accustomed to retire early. Even such busy men as the judge, he must have a visitor, and a visitor meant a possible complication of affairs. So a halt was called, and I was singled out to reconnoiter the premises and bring back word what we had a right to expect. I started off in a strange state of mind. The fear I had spoken of had left me, but a vague shadowy
lane through which, as through a mist, I saw
low light in that faraway window beckoning me on. But what I
thought was in some way to make an end of my present life.
As I drew
Nearer to it, the feeling increased, then it, too,
left me, and I found myself the daring adventurer. This was when I came
to the foot of
to hill and discovered I had but a few steps more to take. The house, which had now become plainly visible, was a solid
one of stone.
Built, as I have said, on the hillside. It faced the road, as was shown by the large portico dimly to be discerned in that direction. But its rooms were mainly on
The side,
and it was from one of these that the light shone.
as I came yet nearer,
I perceived that these rooms,
were guarded by a piazza
of which the
communicating with the portico.
communal front afforded an open road to that window, and a clear sight of what lay beyond. I was instantly off my horse and upon the piazza.
And before
I had time to realize that my fears had returned to me with double force. I had crept with stealthy steps towards
the uncurtained
the window and looked in. What did I see? At first nothing but a tall, stately figure bending above a batch of closely written
papers,
upon which the light shone too brightly for me to perceive much of what lay beyond them. But gradually, and
of whose workings I was
fiercely conscious, drew my eyes away,
and I began
to discover, on every side, strange and beautiful objects which greatly interest, until
suddenly my eyes fell upon a vision of loveliness so enchanting that
I forgot to look elsewhere, and became, for the moment, nothing but sight and feel. It was picture, or so I thought in that first instant of awe and delight, but presently I saw that it was a woman, living, full of the thoughts that had never been mine.
and at
The discovery, sudden trembling seized, for I had never seen any in heaven or earth like her beauty, while she saw nothing but the man who was bending over his papers. There was a door of something dark behind her, and against it, her tall, strong figure, clad in a close, white gown, stood out with a distinctness that was not altogether earthly, but it was her face that held me, and made of me, from moment to moment, for in it, I discerned what I had never believed in until now, a devotion that had no limit, and love, which asked nothing in return. She seemed to be faltering on the threshold of that, who would like to enter but does not dare.
And in another moment, with a smile that pierced me through and through,
she turned
as if to go instantly.
I forgot everything but my despair, and leapt with an impetuosity that betrayed my presence, for she glanced quickly towards the window, and seemed pale, even while she rose in height, till I felt myself shrink and grow small before her. Thrusting out her hand, she caught from the table before her what looked like a small dagger, and holding it up, advanced upon me with blazing eyes and parted lips. Not seeing that the judge had risen to his feet, not seeing anything but my face glued against the pane, and staring with an expression that must have struck her to the heart as surely as her look pierced mine. When she was almost upon me, I turned and fled. Hell could not have frightened, but heaven did, and for me
that woman was heaven.
Whether she smiled or frowned, gazed upon another with love, or raised a dagger to strike me to the ground. House, I met my mates, I cannot say.
In a few minutes.
Doubtless, for they had stolen after, and had detected me running away from him, but was forced to tell my tale, and I told it unhesitatingly, for I knew I could not save him, if I wanted to, and I knew I should save her, or die in the attempt. He is alone with a girl, I now. Whether she is his wife or not, I cannot say. But there is no cross against her name, and I ask that she be spared, not only from sharing his fate, but from the sight of his death, for she loves him. This from me. No wonder the captain stared, then laughed, but I did not laugh in return. In being the strongest man in the band, and the surest with my rifle, he did not trifle long, but listened to my plans, and in part consented to them, so that I retreated to my post at the gateway, with something like confidence, while he, approaching the door, lifted the knocker and let it fall with a resounding clang that must have rung like a knell at us to the hearts within, for the judge knew our errand. I saw it in his face when he
rose to his feet,
and he had no hope, for we had never failed in our attempts, and the house, though strongly built, was
easily assailable.
While the captain knocked, 3 men had scaled the courtyard and were ready to enter the open windows if the judge refused to appear or offered any resistance to what was known as the captain's will. Death to the judge was the cry, and it was echoed not only at the door, but around the house, where the rest of the men had drawn a cord, ready to waylay anyone who sought to escape. Death to the judge, and the judge was loved by that woman, and would be mourned by her till. But a voice is
speaking, voice
from out that great house, and it asks what is wanted, and what the meaning is of these threats of death. And the captain answers short and deep. The Ku Klux commands but never explains. What it commands now is for Judge Hawkins to come forth. If he shrieks or delays, this house will be entered and burned. But if he will come out and meet like a man, what awaits him?
His house
shall go free, and his family
remain unmolested.
And what is it that awaits him? Pursued the voice. 4 bullets from 4 unerring rifles, returned the captain. It is well, he will come forth, cried the voice, and then, in a huskier tone, let me kiss the woman I love, I will not keep you long. And the cap then answered nothing, only counted out clearly and steadily, 1, 2, 3, 100.
Then he paused, turned, and lifted his hand, when instantly
the 4 rifles rose, and at the same moment, door, with a faint grating sound I shall never forget, slowly opened. The firm, striding figure of the judge appeared. We did not delay. One simultaneous
burst of fire,
a loud crack crack, his figure fell before our eyes. A sound, cry from within. Then all was still, and the captain, mounting his horse, gave one quick whistle and galloped away. We followed him, but I was the last to mount, and did not follow long, for at the flash of those guns I had seen a smile cross our victim's lip, and my heart was on fire, and I could not rest until I had found my way back to that open doorway and the figure lying within. There it was, and behind it, a house empty as my heart has been that
day,
the man's dress covering,
and over the motionless
perfect features, that same, which I had seen, room beyond, and again, in the quick glare of the rifles, I had harbored no evil thought concerning her. But when I beheld that smile, now sealed and fixed upon her lips, I found the soul I had never known I possessed until that day.